inside. Inside. Come on. Come on. Come on. Inside. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you can hear my voice and you're sitting in a weird alley, it is time to start the show. Give it up for your host, also the guy that was the doorman, also the guy you're looking at right now. We are about to begin. Let's do this. Oh, wait, 1 second. Need one more thing. Luna, out of the way, please. Out of the way. Out of the way. We're doing it. Okay, where are we going? Okay, all right. Here we go. For real. Now we can start, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Comedy Alley. Here we are. Woo! I want to say hello to all 10,000 of you tonight. We rammed them in here. Yo, DJ, we killed music. I'm also the DJ, guys. I'm also the DJ. It's a little bit of a bit that we do. DJ, there we go. There we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is showtime. It is Saturday, September 25th. I got to say hello to the people on the internet, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. People in the alley, let them know how much more fun it is here to be live and in person. That is right. We are doing it. Make some noise if you're this is your first time in a Weird Alley for a comedy show.
Oh, yes.
Right, not to be confused with Weird Al. This is Weird Alley. Two different things. First time in an alley. I'm going to guarantee something to all the listeners, but especially the live humans in front of me right now. I'm going to guarantee you something. You guys ready for the guarantee? I'm looking straight in your eyes. I should get your names first. Your name is? We got Emma, right? I knew that. And Emma and Dave. Emma and Dave, look at me right now. Just see these eyes? I'm guaranteeing you. I'm giving you the Lars Classington guarantee this is going to be the best night you ever had in an alley.
Oh, yeah.
Woo! Unless maybe you were a needle user back in the day. Maybe you had some behind the dumpster sex. Maybe you hit some needles up. Yes, and yes, your secret is safe with me and all of our live stream viewers. Now, this alley, I should let you know, I'm the proprietor of this alley here at Laughing Vikings, and this alley was it didn't used to be a comedy alley. This was formerly known just as Alley. It was just Alley. In fact, it was one of the most unfunny alleys in the land. There was nothing funny about this alley whatsoever. Dave, Emma, you want to know, I don't know, do either of you have a spare alley kicking around that you're not doing anything with? And you got a balcony. Oh, you want to turn it into a comedy balcony? Is anyone using that balcony? How big is it? Can we fit 20 people on it? Easily. Where do you guys live? You live in okay, easy. Yeah. One person might get squeezed over the balcony. Yeah. I'm going to tell you the secret. If you want to turn your plain old balcony into a comedy balcony, it is mostly wacky umbrellas right here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Give it up for the wacky umbrellas, Dave and Emma. Yeah. It feels weird to be a grown adult walking into Dollarama and asking for 8 wacky. Oh, there he is. Give it up for BK Broiler here. Normally the DJ, but he's here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The dog wrangler. They call him the pug whisperer. Welcome, 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 welcome. As I was saying, 8 wacky, multicolored umbrellas is basically all you need. If you were wondering, Dave, you were probably looking around and you're like, what is it about this place? What is the secret to this vibe? It's mostly umbrellas and then tea lights. That's it. Tea lights. $2.50 worth of tea lights. You can transform your balcony into the most intimate, beautiful space. Yeah, all night long. Even me. We've been running these shows since July. I still, during the show, find myself looking around. I'm like, where the fuck are we right now? You're going to leave tonight and you're still going to, like, later tonight and tomorrow, you're going to just be like, did I dream this? Was that all a dream? Like, do we crawl through Fred Penner's log and then come out on the other side. Maybe that's a Canadian reference. You're like, who the fuck is Fred Penner? Comedians in the back. She's from the UK. Do not reference any Canadian television from 30 years ago. Way over her head.
Only BBC tonight.
No Fred Penner jokes. How about Narnia? Maybe you crawl through the wardrobe and then here you are in Narnia. Yeah, there you go. Welcome to Narnia. I'm Lars. I'll be playing the part of Aslan. Is it Aslan? I'm the lion that gets killed. I don't know if that's me calling myself Jesus, since it's kind of an allegory to Jesus. I'm not doing that if that's the case. But I am the host with the most. I'm running this show. If you guys need anything throughout the show, you can ask me. Every week we have usually between 3 to 5 pro comedians, people who have done Just for Laughs, JFL 42, headline festivals, headline comedy clubs across this country, and others, including one of our acts, as I mentioned, is from the UK. The Scottish side of it, that's considered the UK. Oh, you're Welsh, so I don't know what that means. I don't know my UK. The Scot will. Okay. Are you guys mortal enemies, or are you right? Because you also don't want to be part of England. You rejected the crown. Yes. You watched that epic series, The Crown, and just curse your whole way through. Elizabeth. Actually, one of the other comics on the show spent a lot of time touring around the UK too, so you might have a lot in common. Note, comedians back there, you guys know that we have a UK here, something to connect with. I'm just sussing out who's in the crowd right now. Part of my job as a host is just to bring us all together, make sure we're going to have the fucking best night ever, and then I just set up these comedians. I just lob them big meatballs so that they can just come out here and just hit them out of the park here. What do you guys do, or what do you, maybe if what do you do is a bad question, you can answer either what you do as an occupation, or if you're like, I don't like my job, you can answer what am I passionate about? What do you really like? Dave?
What I do is what I'm passionate about. I sell beer.
Oh my God. Dave sells beer for a living. Wow. An alcoholic's dream job. Your parents were like, you got to quit this beer drinking, Dave. And you're like, no, you got it all wrong, Mom. I'm turning this into a cash cow right now. But that's what kind of beer do you sell?
I'm buying some breweries now. I used to work for Cowbell Brewery.
Cowbell? Okay.
Cowbell and Creemore Springs.
In Creemore Springs. And now you just buy breweries?
So about to buy some breweries.
They say that Budweiser is the king of beers, but I believe Dave is the king of beers, just buying up little breweries. Wow. How did you get into that?
Well, I've been in it all my career. I worked at Diageo, Bass in the UK. I've stuck with the UK as well.
Both? Are you both Welsh?
No, I'm English. So
English.
we're doing our best to get into Dubai.
Right. This is kind of a Romeo and Juliet situation here, except England instead of Italy, right? You're Montagues and Capulets. A little less sexy, yes. Food's not as good, and skin's not quite as olive. Some dental issues from time to time is the stereotype. But you're getting along. I noticed when you, Dave, I don't know if you realize this, but when you said you're from England, your chest went out and your shoulders went back and your chin went up a little bit. Yeah, yeah. You saluted and removed the crown as you did it. Nice. Well, I'm a big fan of Shakespeare. You guys might have heard of him, Shakespeare. Yeah, he's a hell of a writer. Yes, and so you buy breweries?
I'm doing it now, yeah.
Like stocks, you just go in and you figure out, you buy low, sell high, or you figure out you're like the beer whisperer. Oh, okay, you're like, you don't have your shit together, you don't have your shit together, and you don't have your shit together, but if I buy you and put you all together, we can make something happen here.
You should write my business plan for that.
I can write your jingle. I can write your jingles, that's for sure. Jingles, yeah. I'm a jingle. We're talking right now. Oh, we should. We're talking.
All right.
This is now no longer a comedy show, you guys in the back. This is a business deal. I am cutting deals to be Dave the Brew King's guy. I'm gonna be your. You guys, we don't have a license in here, as you know, yet, but eventually we can just exclusively sell Dave's beer here if you want. I can be your alley licensee, and don't think we can just do it here in this alley. My goal is to have comedy shows in every alley across the land and only sell Dave's beer there. And anyone who, yeah, we're figuring shit out, aren't we, right now? We're figuring shit out. You believe you me, everyone in this alley tonight is gonna leave richer. This is like Scotia Bank in alley form here. You're richer than you think, Dave. You had no idea you came into this alley like, oh, we're gonna have a fun night, drink some beers, but you met your key man right here. I'm gonna be your right hand Dave, is what I'm gonna be.
We'll talk about this in a few 10 years from now. So that was that moment.
Remember the night in the alley when you guys wandered in and we had a 3-hour business meeting and we never got to the comedy show? We should get to the comedy show eventually here, but I got to pay some bills here. We do have some show sponsors who have helped out. They've kicked in some cash, and they've asked me to do some live commercials, and I'm gonna demonstrate some of my forte. I think I can write all your commercials. We can handle all your social media side. Not that you have any trouble selling beer these days, I'm sure, but so one of our sponsors, you might have heard him. He's a lovely businessman. His name is Morgan, and he runs Morgan's Mortgages and Smorgasbord. Give it up for Morgan from Morgan's Mortgages and Smorgasbord. Have you been? Dave, Emma, have you ever been to Morgan's Mortgages and Smorgasbord? You haven't? Okay. It's a bit of a startup. He's got a few locations. We are looking for franchisees. I don't believe he has a location in Welsh. Wales, without the H, just Wales. Fun fact, I've been to Wales only to the airport. I was on my way to Ireland, and we stopped is it Cardiff? Cardiff, it would have been Cardiff. So I sat, and I was like, so this is Wales. They have a Starbucks too. Yes. And we don't have a location in England either, so we can figure this out. So Morgan has asked me to do the live commercials for Morgan's Mortgages and Smorgasbord. I'll be playing the part of Morgan in this case. Goes something like this. Hi, I'm Morgan from Morgan's Mortgages and Smorgasbord. That's right, Morgan from Morgan's Mortgages and Smorgasbord. The Mortgages and Smorgasbord guy. You heard me, the Mortgages and Smorgasbord guy. That's right, the Mortgages and Smorgasbord guy. One more time, the Mortgages and Smorgasbord guy. Why waste time going to 3 stores for all your Mortgages and Smorgasbord needs when you can come on down to Morgan's Mortgages and Smorgasbord and take care of all your Mortgages and Smorgasbord business in one spot? So the next time you need to renew your mortgage, store a loved one, or eat a hearty meal, come down to Morgan's when you need a mortgage or a mortgage or a smorgasbord. Boop. Dave, thank you, sir. I felt like a jester in front of the king, and he's going to decide whether I get beheaded after that. And it was like, you were like this, it was like this, and then the big thumbs up. Okay. One more, and this is related to Comedy Alley and Laughing Vikings. You'll notice if you have to take a trip to the bathroom, Emma, the loo. That's the loo. Dave, the loo. If you guys have to go to the loo, we have something fancy in there. We have a red carpet, so you can take a red carpet poop. But we also have something French called a bidet in there. You guys own a bidet? Anyone in the alley own a bidet? Who knew I'd be the only one in an alley with a bidet? It's just a bunch of dirty butt alley people in here. So we own a bidet, and I wanna sell bidets because in my head I'm like, where the fuck are they selling bidets? There's no bidet depot. There's no bidets or us. I've never seen a TV ad. I've never heard a radio ad. I've never been flipping through a magazine or a newspaper and seen a big flash Boxing Day sale for bidets. So I'm like, who are selling these bidets? But there's a market because some Europeans, like Italians, Portuguese, French, of course, some of them have more bidets than bathrooms. I don't know how they figure it out, but you like go to an Italian person's house and you get in there, you wipe your shoes, and then boom, there's one right there. You go to the pantry, get some snacks, there's one in there too. So I think there's a market. You guys don't owe it. You don't own one. So I'm going to sell you a bidet with the jingle only. I believe I have written the Sleep Country Canada of bidets. You know Sleep Country Canada yet?
Yes.
Sleep Country Canada. Why buy a mattress anywhere else, Dave? And what I'm about to unleash to you is why buy a bidet anywhere but Bob's Bidets? I like the idea of Bob's Bidets, little what do they call it? Alliteration. You said that impeccably, by the way. Alliteration. Somehow, yeah, the Queen's English. Everything Dave says is in iambic pentameter as well. You're great. You're really good. You're really getting it here. I'm I'm beating out all of your sentences here. Ooh, that was a good one. That was an enjammed line right there. These are Shakespeare terms I'm busting out for you guys. So here's the jingle for Bob's Bidets. Goes something like this. Come on down to Bob's Bidets, because with the bidet you're always rim job ready. Bob's Bidets. King Dave? Brilliant! He says brilliant! He says brilliant! And if you don't think that's a brilliant bidet jingle, you need to go home tonight and you need to Google the word rim job. And then you'll come back to me and you'll be like, Lars, that was fucking spot on. You need to write my beer jingles. We don't have to talk about bidets or rim jobs in any of your beer commercials. All right, Dave, Emma, as the king and queen of the alley here, bringing two countries, Wales and England together. Maybe you're going to form your own country. What would that be called? Wingland. Wingland. I like the sounds of that. Wingland. Yeah, I think you guys could do it. That's all. You guys, you got all this beer money. You can buy an island, Dave. Let's buy our own island. I can supply the jingles. It's not that much. You just map it out. We'll map it out in the business meeting later on. We'll set some 5-year targets. We'll get the island, and we're gonna start Wingland. Are you ready for the comedian offerings to the king and queen, the crown of Wingland, ladies and gentlemen? We gotta hear you. You guys are screaming and laughing and cheering for 20 people tonight. Oh, we gotta do it. Here we go. All right. This guy, he's done it everywhere. Literally, he's done everything in Canada except leave the country. So he did leave the country a few years ago, and he went to England. Please give it up for Dylan Gott. Dylan Gott. Dylan Gott, everybody. Dylan Gott. You use this one. I'm going to keep this one. No, that one works better. I keep the crappy one. All right. Dylan Gott. One more time for Dylan Gott.
This is... you guys are still fucking here. Good for you. This is... You're trapped. That's good. The doors are locked? Fuck it. Is this like a first date? No.
No.
Second? How long have you guys been together?
It's a long story.
20-something years?
Yeah,
18 years? Oh, that makes sense. You're just like, oh, sweet. We'll be here because we don't have to talk to each other. That's really... yeah, I saw that and I was like, people in the back were like, is this their first date? And I was like, I don't know. I don't think so. They seem like they like each other, but not that much anymore. Good. Where in England did you grow up? Oh, Wales. Sorry. So not England. Good. All right. And Manchester. Fuck yeah. Good for you, buddy. Oh, nice. Manchester. Nice. And why'd you guys leave? Just got a job here? Or?
Yeah. 16 years ago, Canadian citizen.
You're Canadian citizens. Oh, she's not. She's like, she's got her foot out the door. You're not welcome? Like, well, what do you do, sir? Oh, you're brewer.
Yeah.
Brewer, and you do, what do you do, man? Nothing? Just nothing. Fucking, that's awesome. Just living off that brewer money. Good for you. Fuck. A psychologist? Okay, cool. All right, good. You guys are enjoying this as much as I'm not. This is good. If you think it's awkward for you guys, you don't have to perform. I'm going to open that door no matter where it goes. That's what I'm doing. Well, I'm in this guy's house now. Good. This is funny because you guys obviously went to comedy shows. Have you guys been to the Fringe? No? Yeah, so have you been in this exact situation, but in Edinburgh, where it's just like someone's like, "Come into my show," and they're like, "Oh no, it's just us." And at the end, they're like, "Do you have any money?" And you're like, "No, I don't. I don't think I have any money." Oh man, you got barked in. Good for you. That's why I fucking English get a bad reputation because you will go to fucking so much shit. The Canadians would be like, "No, this is a patio. This is nice." Well, this is a full room, trust me. It's not this weird. But, I mean, it is this weird right now. Look, there's someone, if you want to, you could fuck someone's air conditioner up if you wanted to. It's right there. We could just boot this fucking air conditioner. Why not? No, you're not. You're too nice. So, 18, how'd you guys meet?
What?
Years and years? Okay, cool. I like that you're just, like, adding so much lore to this marriage. You're like, years and years ago. Do you have any kids? No? Fuck yeah. That's why you guys are both still thin. You're thin and you're smiling. Good. That's great. So when did you move out of Wales then?
Why?
Sure.
Right.
I asked when, but you can answer both questions separately. This is just a. You know how you've never done an interview for a magazine? This is what this is now. It's just the world's worst journalist.
So when, 25 years ago.
25
why
years.
There's not a lot left.
Because yeah, it's just a guy whose name is all L's, and he won't let you go to the bar.
Yeah, exactly.
I love Welsh language because it's like, my name's Steve. How do you spell that? QSPL59. Pound sign, exclamation mark. John gets it. He's Scottish. No one else gets it. Dylan with a Y, because why not? That's my name. It's Welsh, I guess. My mom says it's Welsh. I'm like, no, there's no like Q's or. It's Dylan. Dylan. Okay, cool. All right. I did a gig in Wales and I had no fucking idea what was going on. And they were all speaking English, but like in a weird way. Have you ever met someone that's do you speak Welsh, like proper Welsh?
I do something like
No, fucking terrifying language. It just sounds like someone started speaking the language from Lord of the Rings if you go to Wales. It's insane. I have a friend who's on TV because she can speak Welsh. But that's the funny thing, it's a market of one. Everyone's like, fuck, I'm never going to learn that. So enjoy your money. So if you guys want, you know how there's like money in Canada and like, and if you just speak Quebecois French and you're like an English person, you can just fucking speak Welsh, no other things. You can just speak Welsh. I'm going to learn how to speak Gaelic like I do in like the north of Scotland where they just fucking are racist. Good. All right. I'm going to move there. I'm going to do a joke, and you know what? I'll just pretend it's a sentence. This is the best part about a crowd this size, though. I can just pretend it was a sentence I asked you guys at the end. I can just ask a question. Home Depot, if that's a punchline or something. And you guys will be like, oh, he's still just having a conversation with us. I left my 7-month-old son for this. I just want to. He started babbling. He was like, pop, pop, pop. And I was like, no, I have to go earn money. Like, kind of being weird to two nice people. This brewer going like, I don't know who he is, but I'm never selling him anything. Are you guys on TikTok? No? I mean, you've got a lot of time on your hands. You're the exact market of just like woman at home. Are you on TikTok? No. No, fuck no. Join it right now. Let's all join TikTok together. We could probably get a group email. You guys want to just start an email account, just all of us? I feel like this is an intimate relationship we're having on. Do you guys have a group? You guys have a group email? No, you have your brewery email. Do you have your own individual email?
Yes.
Yes. You have a group email. That's what swingers do, I guess. Every time a couple has a group email, I'm like, oh, you guys fuck people, I guess. Why else would you have a group email? Anyway, I tried to get a job at the start of the pandemic because this isn't paying as well as it used to, right? And I applied at Home Depot. And when I last had a day job, it was like way easier and way less like weird to get one. I applied at Home Depot online. I gave my resume, right? I gave my cover letter. And then they were like, all right, you have to sign up for Home Depot online. And I was like, okay. I gave my email, right? And then I gave my password. And when, you know how we all have that one password? Where it's like, yeah, if you get into my Spotify, now you can steal my identity, that thing. So I give my password, and Home Depot online was like, no, man, not strong enough. Home Depot was like, what if someone hacks into your Home Depot application, pulls out your cover letter and finds out your commitment to excellence is unparalleled, or whatever bullshit I wrote to try and stack shelves. Thank you. That's that Welsh sense of humor. We could just fight. We could fight. I mean, you guys would stick together for sure. Or maybe you got some unresolved issues.
Maybe not, yeah.
Maybe not? Oh, are you trained in fighting, miss? Welsh judo? Karate? Really? What belt? Black? You're like, fuck it, black. If it's made up, black. Are you trained in anything, sir?
No.
You're just a brewer, you're just fucking...
Running away.
You're training, your wife knows karate, and now you're in a marriage that you can't get out of. You have no fucking options. She'll just make it be like, I brewed for another 18 hours. And she's like, why wasn't it 19? Oh, me and my wife are doing Zoom couples therapy, and I feel like this. Don't fucking post any pictures of this, okay? I feel like this will probably be. This will come up. We're doing Zoom couples therapy. She's in a union, and I love free stuff. Also, there's a yearly allotment for wigs, so I have a bunch of wigs now. It's very nice. But the thing is, Zoom couples therapy. I assume you guys haven't done couples therapy, have you? No? Okay. Well, I assume it's very helpful when it's like in person. But Zoom couples therapy is you imagine you guys, right? And you're very close together. And then there's a therapist, but they're really on just this person on the screen. And then they ask a bunch of questions. And they just bring up a bunch of arguments you forgot you had. But you get angry all over again about like 9 different things. And then they're like, oh, an hour's up. And they leave the call. And then you fight in your kitchen. That's pretty much what it was. And that was the first time. So the first time wasn't the best. But we worked on who we were. And here is our payoff. Was the second time we didn't have enough problems to fill the hour. So we're like at 32 minutes. And the therapist's like, do you want to talk about anything else? And I was like trying to get my money's worth. So I was like, I don't know. She was a slut in high school. We can talk about that. They were like, I don't think that's very constructive. And I was like, I'm just trying to. You guys want to talk about how law sucked at the end? Like, I don't know. No one ever laughs at that, but it's true. One lady did. No, that was good. Although that could just be someone's phone. Can someone just put their phone? You guys could do that if you get tired of laughing. Just get an app on the phone, be like, ha ha. That'll be a new low. I've never done a show for one person. Maybe one time I'll do a show for one person. But no, I did. Well, there was one show that was at the Fringe, and the guy was like, "Oh, it's rare to see you." And I am not making this up. It was a lady and her breastfeeding child. So that counted as. That was 1.5, I guess. Because she was just like, keep going. She was like, I don't know if you ever seen, like, my wife breastfeeds and she's just unfazed. It used to be like her whole life was covering up her breasts and worried that, like, someone would see her breasts in the window. And now she's just, like, out for a walk. He's like, he's hungry! And then just everyone on the street, which is fine. Okay, good. I'm going to put, that one was the best. Oh, I'm the worst worst secret shopper review in the history of Starbucks. That was me. At the time. It was 2006. 3 out of 40. That's what I got. Yeah, they told me. 3 out of 40. They were very open about the 37 I did wrong. They wanted to talk a lot about the 37. They were like, oh, you had dog hair on you. You hadn't bathed in days. You didn't know how to make the drink. And I was like, yeah. What was the 3, though? It turned out, here's what it was. I said hi. That counted for 3. I was like, hello. And they were like, I'd like a grande latte. And I was like, there's one up my butthole. And then I guess that's how that works. You guys are way too well-to-do for this. But when you work at Starbucks, this is how it was 16 years ago. But when you try the coffees, they make you have a booklet. It's just needlessly pretentious, everything about Starbucks. And you have to try the coffee and then write. They want you to write like a poem or like a haiku about how the coffee made you feel. Legit. And then they're like, what would this pair best with? So every single coffee I tried, I was like, this reminds me my dad's dead. And then they were like, what was this pair with? And I was like, crying. And then 3 out of 40 review, yes, but I just got a bunch of paid time off. That was pretty good. But it was crazy. You imagine that just like writing down, this coffee reminded me that I miss my wife or something. And they're like, what muffin should I get with it? A wife. I'm so sad. Good. I can't tell anything about this other than you guys are way too nice. I mean, you guys should have had kids. How old are you? You guys can still have kids. No? You can adopt one. You find one on the street, just steal someone else's kid. That one looks like it's all ready to do. I wanted to do that. When I had kids, I was like, fuck, why don't I just get like a 6-year-old who I'm like, this guy's already pretty tall. That was my main worry, is like, my kid's going to be short. I don't think he's going to be short. And then you get, how tall are you? I don't want to offend you. 5'7"? Okay. No, that's not short. I'm talking like 5'2". Then they're weird. Then they're like, I own a record store or something. You're like, who buys records? They're like, nobody, but I have the power. I hire a bunch of teenagers and I'm mean to them. I had a boss. Well, I just got a job again. Well, I quit it now because this is fucking picked up again. For real. Anyway, it seems like I'm really making it up now. But, but I got a job again, and my boss was really short, and that was a problem. He's just fucking weird. A guy forgot his keys. Like, he took the keys. I was a janitor for the TDSB. I'd never worked a job that wasn't like in an office. It was very nice. Because janitors, right, in an office, one time this most passive aggressive thing that ever happened to me in an office was that they were worried about my hygiene. So they made me type up a memo about hygiene. And they just highlighted hygiene. That's how they, instead of just being like, your ass smells, they were like, we'll just highlight hygiene. And then at the caretaking job, I forgot to shut a door. So a guy said, I'll blast your fucking teeth down your throat if you do that again. I was like, that's where you're at. Good. Very good communicative skills. Plus, I don't mind flushing turds. I learned that about myself. I was like, that's not bad. Just do it with your foot. Boom, boom, boom. Flush those turds. And then the kids are really nice, to be honest. I worked in school. They're very nice. They know your name. They're like, you can get the tennis balls off the roof? And I legit had to be like, they don't let me do that yet. That's a 10-year man. That's who gets the tennis balls off the roof. You earn those cheers from those children. It's like being a celebrity. It's great. Good. As if I need notes for this. Talk to them more. That's what that says. Exhaust all of their goodwill before your friends go on stage. Interesting. Oh, this was another one. All right, so obviously when I put my resume into Home Depot, I was like, I put my resume in and I put references available on request, which for some people I assume means like, oh, I don't want to give up my contacts. I've spent my whole career gathering. For me, whenever I put that on, it just means like, just give me this job without asking me. You know what I mean? Just give me the job so I don't have to ask my cousin and say he worked at that Starbucks. Oh, he was the fucking best. Do you swear a lot? Yes. It's encouraged the Starbucks, I guess. Oh, good. That was a good laugh. Sound like a horse, kind of. Good. That is a good laugh. People with distinctive laughs. I'm glad. I guess I have one. Anyway. My wife dated everybody in town. Oh, she fucked a lot of people. That's the better way to say that. And we live in our hometown. So we'll walk around. We've been together for 7,000 years. So I'm not jealous, but she still thinks I am, which is nice. But nevertheless, when we see someone she's hooked, she'll like say something that'll make the situation way weirder. Like we walked by and she saw a guy she hooked up with. She was like, "Oh, I slept with that guy, but don't worry, he can't read." It's like I just feel bad for him now. Like I want to walk up to him. Do you want to learn together? Like I can help you out, man. What am I supposed to do? Walk up to this guy like, yeah, we have sex now for the last 11 years, but I guess only 3 years of that was sex. The last 8 have been patchy. Anyway, read it and weep, you fucking loser. Oh, I guess just weep, you literate bitch. Haha. Can't read, can ya? I am kind of jealous though that she has hooked up with people because whenever we go to my town, I hooked up with nobody. And for some reason, she thinks I'm lying, so she's obsessed with catching a woman that I've hooked up with. And, like, we'll be walking along, and I'll try and not catch someone's gaze, and then she'll jump on it. She'll be like, oh, did you date that girl? And I'll have to be like, no, I took a shit in that guy's house in high school. Pretty sure he still wants to fight me, so we got to speed this walk up, honey. This went from a nice evening stroll to a run to a car. All right, honey? Because I grew up in a small town. I mean, Manchester knows this. There's no expiry date on someone wanting to fight you in a small town. Yeah, you show up to the 50th wedding anniversary and they see you and they're like, didn't you bump my truck in grade 9? Fight me in front of this cake, pussy. That was okay. Do you guys want to hang out after this? You guys... What movies you guys like? You guys want to watch a movie? We could be the kids you never had. We'll come over. You guys are like, no, you cannot. That was very funny. This is the only time she's been upset. No, you're not my kid. Thank you. That was late too. I mean, these notes just say, be yourself. I am. That's the problem. Oh, here's how me and my wife. Well, actually, this joke's gross, but whatever. Who cares? Here's how me and my wife had the kid. First things first. I don't know if you guys heard of this, but we had full sex. That's what we did, right? Here's an important thing, because he's a very nice child. Missionary position. I truly believe position matters. Looking each other in the eyes, and to create a good mood, I said nice things. Yeah, I was looking him in the eyes. I was like, you're so smart. He's a great kid. Wake up smiling every day. He never cries. It's fantastic. Some people have children. One guy came up and he's like, they don't all end up like that. I got 3 kids. They all still live at home. And I was like, well, I know why that happened. You probably did it doggy style. You got to look them in the eyes, you know? You can't have a good kid when you're looking in the back of someone's head like, oh, I love your ass. You know? That's how you make DJs. Do you have DJs at your brewery?
No.
No? Okay, cool. You're at both hands clasped. Like, no. That's nice. No, I do not. Do you have live events at your brewery?
I haven't bought the brewers yet. They will have live events, yeah.
They will?
They will.
Oh, nice. With
Comedy?
comedy? Yeah. You want to have this exact show just for you? Your wife
Need
leaves.
an alley.
Oh, yeah. Comedy only happens in alleys now.
Yeah.
It used to be this in England. This would be filled with piss too. That's nice. It would be absolutely brimmed with piss. That was one of my favorite moments in English when I told my friend how much English people piss outside, and he just thought I was like making something up. So then we got drunk outside, and we were drinking by the Thames, and it was like so nice. And then this dude in a suit came up. He unzipped, takes it out, and he just started like. He didn't even pee. That was the funny thing. Is English people are so used to pissing outside, they don't even pee sometimes. They just check. He just has his dick out. And my friend's looking at him like, what is this guy doing? And then he looks at us, right? He looks at old Big Ben. And then he just kind of mushed it back in, zipped up, walked off. I didn't react at all. I knew exactly what happened. I was like, this guy was so hammered, he forgot how his body works. He checked if he had to piss, and then he moved on with his night. And I look at my friend, and he was fucking terrified. I've never seen him this scared, because from his perspective, I realized all he saw was a man take his penis out, look him in the eyes, then look at a clock like, not time yet, zip up, gone. Not the best. I get in weird problems like that, though. Like, this happens to me all the time where, like, I have a son, so I'll look at a father and son. This happened to me in the parking lot. I'll look at a father and son. There's this guy with his 2 kids. And he's like walking them along, and they're like, Daddy, what are we gonna do? They go, oh, we're gonna go play catch at the park. And I'm looking at them like, man, I can't wait to do that someday. But then all he sees is a guy just staring at his kids. Like, this guy wants to bang my kids for sure. Okay.
Has it been 15 minutes?
Yeah! Thank you very much for your time, guys. You guys love the rest of the show.
Dylan got everyone. Dylan
Oh, no,
got.
I didn't
I
even do
got
that
it. Don't worry about it. Keep going for Dylan, everyone. And by everyone, I mean Dave and Emma. Well, there's more. There's more people. I keep talking like Dave and Emma are the only people here. But yes, you guys are the best. Now, I just wanted to share something. You look like you were going to ask a question there, Dave. You're good? What's that? Okay, go have a quick pee. I'll fill that time while you're there and get back here for our next act. So, Dylan was talking about pissing in alleys. We specifically ban pissing in this alley. It's not a thing, so you won't. You'll at no point during the show will the waft of piss enter your nostrils. I guarantee you that. We have a no piss policy here. But I want to share I'll just share a quick story about one of my most notable piss stories. When I was just a young university boy, I think I was about 21. I'm from Aurelia. Do you know where Aurelia is? Do you know where Barrie is?
Yes.
About an hour north. And Aurelia is about 20 minutes north of there. At the time I was living in London, I was going to the University of Western Ontario, which is where I learned to binge drink. First year, it was like, what do you do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and sometimes on Sunday? you pre-drink, then you go to the bar and drink more, and then when you're out of money or too blackout drunk to be there, you go home, and then you wake up the next day and you piece your life together through receipts, and you're like, oh, I don't remember going to Wendy's last night. And then you look at your debit record and you're like, oh fuck, I went to Wendy's and I went to the Sufaki place. Real hell of a night. So that's how I learned to drink. And one weekend I was back in Barrie, Ontario, and I happened that night to make a horrible mistake. And that was the first time I had ever done mushrooms. Emma, have you ever eaten magic mushrooms? I'm sure you've eaten regular mushrooms or truffle mushrooms. Never done magic mushrooms, right? I highly, 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 highly recommend them. Just do them with someone who's a friend, and make sure you do just a minuscule amount to ease yourself into it. I would say like 1 gram. Do 1 gram and see how that affects you. Welcome back, Dave. How's the pee? Welcome back.
Great pee day.
Great pee day. Well, you used it. You usually don't use it when you pee, but use the front. You're like, ooh, we're just gonna dip it. We're gonna dip it in here. I was telling the story of when I was in Barrie, Ontario, on mushrooms. So here's the deal. Have you ever done mushrooms, Dave?
No.
Never. I highly recommend them, but just make sure you do them with someone that you trust, and don't do as many as I did that night. So I arrived late at a party where everyone was on mushrooms except for me. I'd never done them, but I had a friend who was like, we just ate mushrooms half an hour ago. You got to eat some mushrooms. So he gives me a handful of mushrooms. They're fucking gross. They're awful. They stink. They taste terrible. So I ate what I think was about 2 grams. But I'm not used to mushrooms, and what I didn't know is that they take about 45 minutes to an hour to kick in sometimes. And so I wasn't feeling anything, and everyone ahead of me, because I was there late, is already like, they're already having the best of times on mushrooms, and I'd never been on mushrooms, and I was late. So my buddy, who was named also Dave, but he goes by Crazy Dave. This is a public service announcement. Never trust a friend named Crazy Dave to be your mushroom Sherpa. Horrible idea. And there's a couple things. For those mushroom connoisseurs, if you were to say to a rookie, what are some things you would say, like recommend on how to eat mushrooms? Anything? Brandon, John, Dylan, I assume you guys have done mushrooms. What's the scenario that you would do mushrooms in? You would say do them outdoors, probably, like in nature is a great way to do it, a beach, a forest, a cottage, and do them with people you know is the thing to do. So I was with a bunch of people, except for Crazy Dave. I didn't know anyone, and we were not outdoors. We were inside at a house party, and I'm used to drinking. So he's like, here's another handful of mushrooms. So now I think I'm up to about 3.5, 4 grams, which is a good amount of mushrooms. And then we decide, hey, let's go to a bar. So we go to a bar in Barrie that's rammed, jam-packed full of people, tight, sweaty dance bar, low ceilings, tight area, not where you want to be on mushrooms. So I'm there. I have a fucking awful time on mushrooms. The whole time it was like peaks and valleys of, hey, I'm having a great time. This is the best night ever, to, oh my God, this is the worst night ever. Actually, at one point through the night, I had the thought, I was like, have I died? And now I'm in some weird limbo place. Because here's the thing, Dave. There was people around me. For some reason, it seemed like a high ratio of people. Like there was a guy with a cast. There maybe was a guy on crutches. There might have been one person in a wheelchair. So I had the thought, I'm like, were we all in car accidents tonight and we're all dead, but now we're all just partying, thinking that we're still alive? This was my night. And people would walk up to me and they'd be like, hey, how you doing? And I'd be like, I'm pretty fucked up. I did way too many mushrooms tonight. My buddy Crazy Dave is like, can you just stop telling people you're on mushrooms? That's weird. Just smile and enjoy yourself. So the night's terrible. And I'm looking, at one point, I'm like, am I even alive? Am I on Earth? I was looking at sports scores on the TV just to tether myself to reality, where I'd be like, okay, yeah, the Jays did play the Yankees tonight. Okay, I am on Earth. I'm in the present time. So long story, longish, but a little shorter. I go outside finally. I'm like, I got to get out of here. I just need to go home and not be on mushrooms. I just want to wake up tomorrow and not on mushrooms. But I had to pee, much like those English people in the alleys have to pee. So there was a park right across from the bar where we're at in downtown Barrie. So I kind of find an area that looks to me, okay, this is a good spot to piss. Big giant Christmas tree. So I got some cover. I kind of like slip into this pine tree, and there's a little area kind of underneath it. And as I'm pissing, I hear a voice say, hey, what do you think you're doing? I look behind me. There's a cop right there. I'm still kind of on mushrooms, like way too many. Like I don't want to be on mushrooms anymore. I'm peeing in a magical forest across from the bar, and a cop comes up to me and says, "What do you think you're doing?" And I'm like, I had to pee real bad, and the bathrooms were open. I couldn't find an alley anywhere, so I'm peeing under this tree. And he's like, "Do you realize you're peeing on the war memorial?" So I didn't realize that I'm in the downtown, like where on every November 11th, where they hold their ceremony behind the trees. It wasn't like I was like pissing on Flanders Fields right there. So there was the war memorial and the thing, and then a bunch of trees surrounding it, but it was still the park. And I'm like, no, of course not. I do not. And the cop looks at me in the eye and he says, "You're basically pissing on my grandfather's grave right now. He served in World War I. He's a hero." And I'm like, "I did not mean to piss on your grandfather's grave. I just want to go home and not be on mushrooms." And he let me go. The other weird thing, he checked my ID and he's like, "Where are you from?" And I said, "I'm born in Orillia, which is 20 minutes from Barrie." And he says, "Well, how come your license says London?" And it's like, "Go to university in London, Ontario, not London, England, Dave." And he's like, "What are you doing in Barrie?" And I'm like, whoa, I didn't know that we were in like Nazi Germany and you can't be where you're from. It's like, what border did I cross? They're like, "I'm 20 minutes from where I was born and an hour and a half from where my license says." What is the big fucking deal? There's no ending to this story. There's no real ending except do mushrooms in a small amount. Don't piss on a war memorial. And that's about it. That's the piss story. I was just killing some time here to get you back and sharing some. We're just all getting to know each other in piss-related things here. Now, your next performer, he has performed at JFL 42, Toronto Sketch Fest, Montreal Sketch Fest, originally hailing from Glasgow, Scotland, and he's here in the alley for you. Please give it up for John Mostyn, everyone. John Mostyn.
This is fun. You guys, you're from Wales. You're from England. This is good. Where I can talk in my normal voice. People can understand me. I can say the word cunt without people getting offended. You ever notice that, man? Canadian people just don't hate the word cunt, right? Yeah, most of them are. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like they're like, you can't say it, but like, well, you all are. He was talking. It's funny. Lars was talking about a story about doing magic mushrooms, whilst seemingly being on magic mushrooms, just rambling on like as if it just the magic mushrooms hit as he was talking about the magic mushrooms. You say you're from Manchester?
Yes.
Talking of drug stories, I look like I dress like a fucking extra from a Guy Ritchie film right now. I know, but that's what everyone looks like. Everyone always roasts me. This is what people in the UK dress like. Fuck off. Do you know what I mean? Right? I look like I could find you a dog or something. Anyway, some drugs. But me and my friend. So my dad's from Liverpool, right? And my dad loves cricket. In Scotland, cricket's not for. I can't say the word because it's not PC, but you can understand. And my dad would watch cricket all the time, right? So I got really into cricket, which is a young Scottish guy get you beat up. Do you know what I mean? People in Scotland hate cricket because it's for like rich English people, basically. Do you know what I mean? And but I love it. I love it so much. I love the 5-day test match. That's my favorite. You like cricket, Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love it. Just watching it for 5. People are like, why can like? Because these guys don't know, but like in the middle of a cricket game, in the last five days, they stop for tea. They have sandwiches. They go to bed. Resume it the next day, and the next. It's a full week of sport. It's brilliant. I love it. I fucking love it. And it's so great to watch. So me and my other friend Richie, we'd never been to a test match before, and they're really hard to get tickets, right? So I got tickets to England versus the West Indies at Old Trafford. Second day of the second test. It's a good day to go see a test match, right? And we took ecstasy at a cricket match. Because at the time, me and my friends were very deep into doing drugs, and we couldn't go anywhere without doing a lot of drugs. So for some reason, we went all the way down to Manchester. We're sitting. Our ticket was there's a section in Old Trafford that's no drinking, no smoking, no alcohol, whatever. I think for the posh people, right? But for some reason, we had a ticket in that section, and it is just like old rich people, you know, cricket people, right? Me and my friends just walk up looking at this, and we had like, because we were like, fuck the no alcohol thing. We had we each had a 2-liter bottle of Pepsi filled with half a bottle of Smirnoff, right? Just drinking that, taking ecstasy, and then we're just sitting there, fucked up. And like I had to stop my friend from running onto the pitch because he didn't know who he was. And I called my dad. I'm high. Anyway, on the way home, we got into a fight with old guys who were on the way home from London from a funeral. That was weird. So yeah, much like Lars' story, it doesn't end. But it just reminded me of that moment. I think I might have been the only person in the history of the world that's taken ecstasy at a cricket match, because
Keep going.
it's not bad, right? Where are you from in Wales?
Born in Cardiff.
Cardiff, South Wales.
Yeah.
Yeah. My last name is Mostyn. Do you know there's a fishing village, and
Yeah.
that's where my name is from? Because my relatives, my family and my dad's side are from Liverpool, but they're from North, I think they're all from North Wales. So yeah. So you go, I'm kind of Welsh, I think. Kind of Welsh. I don't tell people that. You don't want to tell people that. I've never met a Welsh person in Canada. Welsh people don't like to leave, you don't like to leave Wales. I don't know why do Welsh people love Wales so much. It's really weird. You all want to speak Welsh.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Fabulous.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, it really is. It's a nice country. I've been there a bunch of times, just enough. I heard the South's a shithole though, right?
It is.
Yeah. I did remember Goldie Looking Chain? That was
Yeah.
I love that band. I love that band. Tom Jones is from Wales.
Oh, he's brilliant.
The best, right?
Absolutely.
There's some good people from Wales. Who else?
We've got Shirley Bassey.
Shirley Bassey. Who?
Manic Street Preachers.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so much.
Okay.
Yeah. And the guy from the Lost Prophets who's a paedophile was from Wales, right?
Oh yeah.
He's in jail for bad things. So you guys are permanent residents? When did you move here?
2005.
2005.
Yeah.
16 years.
Yeah.
Yourself?
A year
Are you looking at him like he's lying? Or you just
So I'm in transition.
you're in transition
I'm
from being Welsh to Canadian?
Canadian, yeah.
Okay, but you've lived here.
Well, technically since June.
Oh, you just came here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you came during the pandemic?
Yes.
That's crazy.
I got let in.
So, but did you come for? Well, I don't understand.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys
Yeah.
were dating
Yeah.
long distance thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It went a bit wrong in the pandemic.
It went wrong in the pandemic. How so?
Because you can do the transatlantic dating moving thing.
Yeah. So you guys have been doing that for a while?
Yeah.
How long have you been dating long distance?
Just a year internet wise. We
Oh.
met 20 years ago.
What?
That was the history.
So you met 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know how to? So did you tell this story already?
No. It's
Okay.
right.
I want to know. I just don't want to go through the same.
Yeah.
You
so
met
right.
20 years ago
20 years ago.
in.
Between, I had a wife and kids.
Oh,
And
God.
I had a life. We got back together again about 2 years ago.
Right.
Yes.
Wow. That's.
Yeah. Romance
When did you meet 20 years ago?
at work.
At work
Yeah, we worked together.
in Manchester or Wales?
London, actually.
London.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You work for the beer company too?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's
Yeah.
great. That's so. But then, so the pandemic, you're just like on Zoom,
Yeah. We internet dated.
internet dating, right? What's that like?
Ah, you're being
Yeah.
creative.
Yeah, you gotta get your angles right and stuff, right? You know, you gotta make sure no one's in your house. You know, gotta make sure you don't ruin your computer with jizz, right? Like, yeah, you're like, I gotta aim it for me. Yeah.
Well,
We gotta get these wet wipes on my laptop after the date. Yeah, and then there's the time difference, right? You know, like you're like at the East, you're like wanking off in the middle of the afternoon. You're going to bed. Sorry, I know. And you're like, yeah, that's
that's pretty much it.
right. That's so. But like, how did I just like? What did you do? Like, I don't mean the sexual things, but like, I don't like, but like, how, did you just sit and like watch Netflix shows together, like on Zoom or something?
We did a bit of that.
We dinner dated. We
Nice.
had dinner night. We had dinner dates.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah.
very romantic. Though. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I guess like over Zoom, you really get to know if you really want to go date someone.
Yeah.
Because after Zoom, you could just ghost them like, boom, and then that's it, right? Never have to see them again. So you just came here 6 months ago?
Yeah, well,
And-
came in January,
January,
went
June.
home, came
Okay,
back.
And how was that? Was that hard
Well,
to come in there?
now it's easy, but then it was really tough.
Oh, okay, yeah. I just got permanent residency. I've been here 10 years. Yeah. It's tough. It was tough. Did you get you get
Citizen,
you're a
okay.
citizen? Okay. No need to brag. I got permanent. I've been here 10 years. Got permanent residency this year. Don't ask me why it took so long. There was a few years where don't tell the government where I was, but that's But so I don't think you probably didn't do this because it was so long ago. But you're going to have to do this if you. I have, and it's awful. It's fucking awful. It make it really hard. I had to sit an English language test.
Yeah.
You're fucked.
Yeah.
You're fucked. It's really hard.
I couldn't do it.
I swear. I know. It's difficult. They're looking. I'm like, I only speak English. Is this not good enough? And they're like, we'll see. Fucking. And you have to do a writing test.
Grammar and everything.
I know. So like, I'm 40 years old. I left school when I was 15. 25 years, right? I haven't written the fucking thing ever since. Why would I? The internet's been around, right? And I had to do writing. And then they were like, one of the part of the writing test was you had to write a letter of complaint to like a business about something, yeah. And I'm like, first of all, I don't know how to write anymore, right? And then they give you a fucking pencil, not even a pen, like a pencil with no, like it wasn't even sharp. And I'm like, dear sir, madam. And they're like, is this PC to say sir, madam anymore? It's not very inclusive. It's just like, and then I was like, fuck it, because I hadn't written a letter for so long. And I'm like stressed, right? Because if you don't pass the English language test, you can't apply for permanent residency. And then you have to pay for the test again. It's $327. That's how much it costs. Which before Serb was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Nowadays, Serb, no problem. I got $325. Just pissing at me, right? But write this there, and then I'm like, that doesn't, because it's grammar, right? And I'm like, this isn't right. So then I've got a rubber. I'm like rubbing it out with a razor for the Canadians, right? Just rubbing it out, and then it just looks like a fucking mess. Just a fucking mess. And I'm like, I'm failing this for sure. And then, like, no joke, the speaking test is really hard. I know that sounds like it's going to be easy because you speak English, but they give you a really weird, difficult question. They asked me, I can't remember what it was, but it was something about describing a house you once lived in, but it was like more in depth than that. My mind just went blank, and I just start gibbering, and this woman's just looking at me, and I swore during my speaking test. I was like, I was talking, and I messed something up, and I was like, fuck, and then I realized I said fuck. I was like, fuck, shit, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get sent back home to Scotland after 10 years of living in Canada. And you know how embarrassing that would be? How embarrassing it would be just to be back in Glasgow, and all my friends are just like, what the fuck are you doing back here? What happened to Canada? And I'd just be like, well, turns out I don't know how to speak the language. And they're like, we've been trying to tell you that, you cunt, for years. You know what I mean? Oh my god, this is good. This is fucking. I watched the Oasis documentary yesterday around me. So I passed, right? By the way, it's hard. It's really hard. She's like, get the fuck off stage. No. Last time I was here, she was just barking the whole time. I'm like, there's nothing worse than just being heckled by a dog, because you don't get any sympathy at all. If a person's heckling me, they're like, fuck you, shut up, you're a bad person, right? If a dog's barking, you're like, oh, and then I'm the bad person for like, you're being mean to the dog. So fuck the dog. No, I'm just kidding. The dog's the nicest thing about this. So I passed, right? And then the Canadian government, they asked you to provide evidence of the last 10 years of employment. Which you're looking, I mean, yeah, what's your employment history like? Mine's a fucking mess. And then there was a period where I was like technically not allowed to be in the country, and I'm like, what if they just like look at this and go like, what is this 2-year gap where you were in the country but you didn't have a job? And I'm like, I don't know, I was in a coma. I don't know, right? Just like, it's just so weird. And then, so I was working my way through all my old jobs, and I had so many when I first came here, right? And it reminded me when I first moved to Canada, I worked at Tim Hortons, only for half an hour. That's how long I lasted at Tim Hortons, right? because like we don't have Tim. Oh, it's Tim Hortons back home now.
Yeah.
But we don't. We didn't have it. Like my sister goes. My sister loves Tim Hortons. She's in Glasgow. She sends me pictures and she goes, "Oh, I just got like a French vanilla and a bit and a donut." And then she's so happy. And then I was like, "How much did that cost you?" She's like, £10. And I'm like, "That's fucking like $2." You're like, it's like gourmet meal in Glasgow. It's the most nutritious thing anyone in Glasgow's ever eaten is a Tim Hortons. It's like nothing's deep fried. They're like, "Oh, this is health food." And I got a job. I got a job there, right? And I just moved to Canada, minus 25 outside. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Right? And they don't give me any training, by the way. They just toss me in. It's Monday morning, 9 o'clock, and it's just me and another bunch of immigrants. They don't speak English. I don't speak English, like everyone's freaking out, right? And then they put me on the front counter, and then they open up the shutter, and there's just like 100 pissed off Canadian people that haven't had coffee yet. You know what Canadian people are like when they haven't had coffee? They're fucking rude, right? It's just, and that's a terrifying sight. They should fucking tell you that shit in the plane, right? And the first woman in line, she comes up to me and she goes, "What kind of Timbits do you have?" I was like, "What the fuck are Timbits?" I had no idea. That's the weirdest word, right? She's like, "Timbits," and I was like, "I don't know what you're saying. I passed the English language test. Timbit is not a word." And by the way, years later, I thought about that woman for years, and years later, I wish I'd known more about Tim Hortons at this point, because I could have just been like, every Timbit is just on the fucking counter. They're not in the back, you lazy cunt. I wouldn't call it cunt because I get arrested in this country, right? But like, you lazy cunt right there. But like, she's like, "Can I speak to your manager?" I was like, "I think I'm the fucking manager. I don't know." And that was one of my first jobs in Canada. Jesus Christ. Where am I at time-wise? Okay. I'll tell you one more. This has been fun. I was like dreading this. I was just like, "Oh my God, I gotta go over here." And it's weird because you guys are from where I'm from, so a lot of my jokes are like very Canadian based or whatever. So like Canadians laugh at them, and you just look at me like, "Fuck off," right? I make up lies about Scotland, make myself look like cool and stuff, and you're like, "That's not right. You're a fucking junkie, John." I mean, like, I used to do a lot of drugs, and I don't do drugs anymore, and like that's why I got the vaccine. Because I wanted to get another needle in my arm just for nostalgia purposes, right? I turned up with a belt around my wrist, fucking vein pop. Like, put it in the vein just for old time's sake, would you? They're like, "No." I'm like, "You don't need the belt, sir." I'm like, fuck. I like drugs. I'll take any drugs, right? So you're like, "Yes, we know you're from Glasgow," like. If this was an alleyway in Glasgow, I'd be terrified right now. This is like every alleyway in Toronto is like, you'd walk down it and you go, "This is no matter what time of day, you're like, this is a nice alleyway. I'm having a nice stroll." Every alleyway in Glasgow, you're like, "I'm about to get fucking murdered. I'm about to get fucking murdered, raped. I'm gonna get fucking eaten by a fucking fox." I don't know. And there's just shit everywhere, garbage everywhere. There's two people shagging. There's a guy taking a shit. There's a junkie in the corner. There's a guy with a knife. Do you know what I mean? And that's every alleyway in Glasgow. And here you're just like, "Oh, I love it here. It's so safe." Like when I first moved here, I lived in Moss Park. Moss Park, Regent Park area, right? It's like by Toronto standards, it's like sketchy, right? So I moved there. That was the first place I moved, and they're like, "Oh, it's sketchy, John. You gotta watch out. It's a lot of crackheads in Moss Park." And I was like, I just came from like Mary Hill, which is like one of the worst places in Glasgow, right? It's where they shot someone's train spotting, if you want to know, right? And I'm like, this is not scary at all. This is crackheads in Canada are very nice. Yeah, they're very polite. They're like, and they're very well mannered. They're like, come up and they're like, "Oh, sorry to bother you, sir. May I have $1?" And you're like, no, go away. And they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. I'm so sorry," right? And then you go, "Oh, what a nice man. I hope he gets his shit together," right? And in Glasgow, they're like, you got pound," and I'm like, "No," and like, "Get your fucking money." And I'm like, "Okay." Just so anyway. What was I talking about? What was the last thing I was going to talk about? Moss Park. I talked about that. Okay, yeah. How do you find the way? Okay, yeah, no. This was things I already talked about. This is. I was mostly talking out loud there. Sorry, that was. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Right. So, I don't know about you guys. I hate the winter.
Yeah, I haven't been
Oh.
here for a week.
Have you been in the winter time yet?
Not really. Not
Okay,
the whole,
so-
not the whole one.
Okay, so you're in for a treat. You're in for a treat. But see, like, I don't like it because as foreigners here, we're not allowed to have an opinion about how cold it gets, right? You know, it's like that's for Canadian citizens only, right? Well, you're a citizen, so you're not allowed to have an opinion, right? But like in January, right? It gets not yet, but you'll see this will happen to you all the fucking time, right? This happens to me all the fucking time, right? January -16, right? That's cold, right? I turn to my friend and I'm like, "It's really cold today, eh?" Brrr, you know, right? Shivering and stuff, right? She looks at me and she's like, "This isn't cold, John. Just you wait. It's a lot colder here in Canada in the winter time." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I've lived here 10 years. Just making small chat for fuck's sake. You know what I'm talking about, Dave, right?" See if you relate to this one. Canadian people get very competitive about the temperature in other cities in Canada than the one that they currently live in. You're agreeing,
I
right?
agree.
They always like to tell me about it. I live in Toronto. I make the mistake of mentioning the weather. Never mention the weather. Doesn't matter how cold it is. Just don't mention it, right? Because someone else will be like, I'll be like, "Oh, it's cold today," and someone will be like, "This isn't cold, John. You should try spending a winter in Montreal. That's a proper Canadian winter. So cold in Montreal in the winter time, people speak French." You know, I'm like, what? Right? Calm down. Right? And someone else would be like, "Montreal, I'm from Winnipeg. Sometimes in Winnipeg it's as cold as -40, -50 with a wind chill. What do you think about that, John?" Huh? And I'm like, "That sounds fucking shit. What kind of psychopaths live in Winnipeg? What is wrong with you?" Right? And then someone else, not even in the conversation, but it's heard everyone will just come storming over, just be like, "Have you ever spent February in the Yukon, John? That's a proper Canadian winter. So cold in February in the Yukon, John, that we sleep in the freezer just to keep warm. So cold in February in the Yukon, John, snowmen are just called men." Like, relax, guys. Fuck. Guys, you guys have been awesome. This is great. Thank you so much for coming out. You guys have been really good sports. And it was really nice to talk to people from back home. Just before I go, I have to do this. We haven't talked about how England lost the Euro Cup final to Italy. I don't have a joke about it, but any chance there's an English person in the audience, I do like to mention it, just because it's funny. And anytime England lose at football, it gives me so much pleasure. You couldn't beat Scotland, and if you can't beat one of the worst teams in the world at football, then you're not going to win the fucking Euro Cup. And my dad is English, from Liverpool. I rarely talk to my dad, right? But I phoned him up, and I'm like, "Guess it's not coming home, you cunt, and neither am I." You know, click. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. I've been John Moss. Have a good day.
John Mostyn. We're going for Johnny Mostyn. All right. You guys are doing good. How many beers you got left? Got a couple? All right, Dave. Good stuff. Yeah, I'll take one. Amazing. What a fucking life I live here. This used to be just a basic alley. Now people come out and give me beers. Amazing. So you guys have been together 2-ish years? Is that how,
Yeah.
like,
I think that's the technical.
how long in person?
Just 8 months.
8 months. And you were here and you were in Wales and then you came over. Okay. I'm going to share a little relationship stuff with you. I'm going to give you some words of wisdom. My lady friend is in the back. Camille, say hello. Yes. She's lovely. And I'm going to share some tips. Have you been to Niagara Falls yet?
Yes.
You have? Yeah. Did you do the whole thing? Hit up the haunted houses? What'd you guys do?
Oh no, everything was shut.
Oh, wow. You went in lockdown. So it's just like, this is, usually it's magical and now it's closed. Good, smart. You save a lot of money on that trip. You're like, I would normally have taken you to this beautiful steakhouse here. We go to the wax museum. We can't do any of this stuff now, but believe you me, it's romantic as hell. It would be amazing. That's a good time to go. So we went. I don't know how long ago it was. I think we kind of went in between times. It was sort of open, and this little story, aside from going there when things are open, is about trust. So we're just pulling out of Niagara Falls onto the highway, and we grabbed some Tim Hortons. We got our coffees and our road trip snacks. And I see on my dash that one of our doors is slightly ajar, not open. None of the doors are open. I'm not a maniac driving down the highway with open doors, but just slightly open, and I realize it's on her side, on the passenger side. And so I look over and I'm like, oh, I think your door's slightly open. And you just open it and give it a quick tug back. You know what I'm talking about, right? You know, if you're driving in a moving vehicle and it's slightly open, you can just give it just this. You open it real quick and then you just slam it shut and it's shut. And so I say, oh, just grab the handle and give it a little, just give it that. You know what I'm talking. You know the move, Emma. Do you know the move I'm talking about? You've done it before, right? And she looks at me like with these wide eyes, like blinking, like I don't know what I've asked her to do. And she's like, well, shouldn't you, like, can you just pull over? Or I'm like, no, just, you know, I don't need to pull over. I'm going like, it's not like I'm going super fast. I'm going like 80, 90, 100, somewhere like standard highway speeds. But I'm like, no, you just grab it and you just open it and then just give it a little tug. And I can see like her breathing starts getting heavier. She's kind of red in the face. She's looking at, we're still a little early on in our relationship ish. And so she's looking at me like, what are you asking me to do? And I'm looking at her like, what is the problem? Like, how is this? So what I realize is she'd never done it before. I don't know if she'd been never in a moving vehicle, or I don't know how it works, but in her head, I realized afterwards, in her head, it's like we're in an airplane. And she thinks that if she opens the door, I don't know, maybe she doesn't have a physics background. It's not wind dynamics, aerodynamics. She's thinking that the second she opens the door at all, the door is just going to fly off into the night, and she is going to get sucked in like we're in the airlock in a shuttle. And I'm telling her, open the airlock, open the door. And she's like, why? I don't want to get sucked out. And so I connect the dots, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, so I look at her and I say, do you trust me? Emma, do you trust me? And there's a long pause, and she's like, yes, I do. And she goes, chick, chick. And it was a done deal, and we're still together. She trusted me. She didn't get sucked out of the vehicle. I didn't get sucked out. We're both alive to tell the story in an alleyway today. So the moral of the story is, if you're ever going down the highway and your door's slightly ajar, Dave says to you, hey, can you just give it a little, just do it and trust Dave. He's not trying to have you sucked out of the vehicle and to die a horrible, horrible death. All right, Dave, Emma, and everyone here, you guys ready for your final act of the night?
Yay.
We saved a good one for the last year. He's performed at Just for Laughs. He's performed at Winnipeg Comedy Fest, Halifax Comedy Fest. And he's also a writer and a correspondent on This Hour Has 22 Minutes. Please give it up for Leonard Chan. Leonard Chan. First time in the alley.
Not first time in the alley. Thank you. Give it up for Lars and John and Dylan and all the people who saw tonight. Performing for in an alley. It's cold. So thank you guys for coming out. My God.
Home is Montreal.
I used to live in Montreal. Did you live in Montreal?
No, I've been there.
You've been there. Nice. I like Montreal. I did my master's there. And so this is the thing. So again, so this is the whole thing. This is not even going to be a stat. This is going to be a guided conversation. This is not time for jokes or prepared anything. No, I used to live in Montreal, and this is the thing. Like, I was doing my master's in in chemical engineering. This is what I do now, by the way. My parents are very sad about it. I just want you to know they're not happy about this at all. But when I was doing my master's in Montreal, I had no money. Right? I mean, much like now, because I'm a comedian. And then I was trying to survive on no money, and I found this little Chinese restaurant down the street for me, and it made like these meals for like $4 that I could then split into 2, sometimes 3 meals. So I was just like, I can't make a meal for under $2. I just kept eating this cheap Chinese food. And now I have an allergy to MSG, which is so humiliating as an Asian. Like, oh my God. But yeah, so Dave and Emma, yeah, everybody has like some connection to the UK. Like Dylan lived in the UK, and Boston's Scottish. I don't know. Thanks for the opium.
Yeah.
No, actually, you know what? I have family from Manchester. My parents lived in Manchester for 10 years. Yeah, so I do have a connection. I just wanted to fuck with you. Actually, my cousin, she had it was on record. I think the record got beat, but I think it was like 2009. She had the largest baby on record in the UK. Yeah, at the Wythenshawe Hospital. Yeah, she was on the BBC. It was this big, massive.
We're gonna look her up now.
Yeah, look her up. Her name's Julie Lowrider. Literally on BBC. You see her like the picture. Actually, I think I can. She's huge. I'm like, oh my god, her vagina is fucked. Look at this. All right, here. This is what we can do when there's only 2 people in the crowd. I can just like do show and tell.
Oh my.
Right?
Is that
Oh.
one baby?
That's one baby. It looks like it's 18 babies. Like she's having a litter of cats. Like that's what it looks like. It's huge. And then and this is the child. Look at the child.
Oh.
That's look at how upset that child is. Like, could you imagine you had to squeeze your head through? Like your head's a watermelon, just like an Easter Island statue coming out of your. This is not. It's really. Yeah, no kids, right?
No.
Just keeping everything
No,
pristine down there. That's
No,
smart.
no, no.
Smart. You gonna get on that?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Don't have kids. I don't even know how. Like all my friends who had kids during this pandemic, they look like the after photos of meth addiction. Like it looks so bad, so bad. I don't know. I have a lot of friends who want me to have kids. I think it's like a misery loves company kind of scenario. You know, like they fell into a hole and they're just like, hey, come in the hole. Come in the hole. Come in the hole. I was like, I don't want to come in the hole. That's how you make kids. Oh my God. So, okay. So people, let me see what questions have been left to ask you so far. I'm just, my mental dossier of Dave and Emma.
Oh.
You met 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Welsh, Manchester.
Yeah.
You brew beer.
Yes.
You still brew beer here, presumably.
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of. What do you mean kind of?
You can buy companies that brew beer.
Oh, you buy companies that brew beer.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. So you're a beer brewing. You're a beer brewery collector.
Yes. Yeah,
You
yeah.
collect beer breweries. Like some people collect like
That sounds cool.
trading cards.
That sounds cool. Yeah.
You're the real BBC. You're the beer brewing collector. Nice. Actually, has anybody asked you what you do?
Yeah, I sit in a cupboard and talk to
No, you don't tell them properly.
Well, it's boring.
No, I know.
Business psychologist.
Business psychologist? That doesn't sound boring. Like you just because corporations are people, so you're like a therapist for corporations. Is that what you do?
I help leaders be great.
You help leaders be great. How?
There you
Yeah.
go. That's cool.
How do you help leaders be great?
That's a good question.
I want to know. I want to be. Like, if I wanted to be a great leader, like that sounds like an Asian want to be the great leader. I'm Kim Jong Un. Like basically. So if I want to be the supreme leader, how would you go about molding me into the leader of tomorrow?
Well, we'd sit and we'd have a chat about what does great leadership look like, and then we'd explore what your strengths are. It is boring.
Yeah. I mean, okay, let's say I want to commit genocide. How would
we
you?
might talk about the pros and cons of that.
The
or
pros
do
and
you really
cons?
Want to do that?
Yeah. I mean, you know, yeah. Let's say I do. Let's say I actually have that amount of ambition. I don't. Like genocide seems like a shit ton of work. Like a lot of project. I don't like project management.
You just need a team.
I need a team.
Yeah,
that's true. I just need to delegate
Exactly.
all the murder.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I want to stay on genocide. Because one, oh no, I
Something more laughing at
Genocide.
yeah.
Right, sorry.
Oh no! I was trying to hear if you had opinions on genocide that I could then share with the rest of the class. Okay, so you met 20 years ago. You recently got back together.
Yeah.
You've been here for 6 months ish.
Yeah.
You were dating on Zoom for a bit, but you met 20 years ago at work
Yes.
at a beer company.
Yes.
I'm just trying to remember all this shit.
Yes.
This is also a recap for everybody else.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I hope one day like there's Jeopardy and it's just like Dave and Emma as a category. That would be great. Okay, so you're a business psychologist.
Yeah.
You buy beer brewing companies. Have you ever tried to analyze Dave's leadership in brewing beer?
I try not to.
You try not to, but you can't help
I'm a
yourself.
lost cause.
You're a lost cause. Oh man! And you've been here since 2005. You said.
Yes.
Nice. Where in the city are you?
Well, I'm Carlo now.
Carlo, yeah.
Yeah, but I was in Oakville for lots of years.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
it's a nice area.
Yeah.
You know, you're like,
Boring-
where are the rich
boring,
whites?
but
Let's go
nice.
there.
Boring but nice.
You're boring but nice. That sounds about correct. You
Yeah.
bought a house?
Yeah.
Nice. When?
Oh, we haven't built a house. We're in a condo on Carlo.
Oh, you're in a condo?
Yes. Yeah.
But you're about to buy a house.
No,
We might do.
You
Yeah.
might?
Yeah, we might, yeah.
I mean, the
What do you
beer
think?
brewing
Let's do
buying
it.
business
Let's
is
do it.
probably pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
It's
like it. It's a great place.
what's that?
You like it? Leslie's great.
Pleasantville is fantastic, but everything's expensive in Toronto, right?
Yeah.
Like I just recently saw this like real estate listing for like it was like a postage stamp sized piece of land with a burnt out shed for like $1 million. $1 million! Like Toronto's the only place you can like spend $1 million in a home and still be homeless.
Yeah.
London, UK is. about
Yeah, London is
to-
crazy. London is crazy. Well, my wife and I are about to go to London next year for the Jubilee.
Oh,
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the monarchy?
Oh, I love the Queen.
Do you think she's okay?
I love the
Yeah, no, my wife loves
Yeah.
all monarchy
Yeah.
royal. She loved the crown. She wants to go the Jubilee, see the Queen before she dies. This might be our last chance.
Yes.
It
Yes.
possibly will.
Yeah. I know. Once I was at a wedding in Ottawa, and I met this girl who lived in London, and we started chatting, and then it became clear that she was interested in a threesome. And then I was like, well, I'm gonna have to fly to London for this, and I had to convince my wife. My wife's like, I'm sorry, you want us to fly to London to have a threesome? I was like, yeah, but if we go, I'll take you to see Kate Middleton's dress at Buckingham Palace. She was like, all right, fine. Yeah, that's how I got in there. Have you guys ever had a threesome?
But I've not been had the opportunity to go and see Kate Middleton's dress, so.
Oh, true.
No.
Would you guys have a threesome? This is not a proposition. This is just a hypothetical. Definitely. Okay. I mean, of course.
Yes.
But Emma, she's the boss of this particular.
Well, it depends on with who.
That's true.
Yeah.
I suspect we have a different perspective on it.
Right. Ooh, let's
Oh.
analyze this. Okay, so let me ask you this: if you were to have a threesome, I presume you would want another female to be involved, correct?
Oh, yes,
Oh,
you
you have to
know
think
that
about that for a second. Oh, this is okay. Correct. Emma,
No, I'd go for the guy thing.
2 guys.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what you want. Okay,
Yeah.
the devil's threesome, as they call it.
Foursome now then.
Is it?
Foursome.
Yeah.
You know what?
He's in a job.
A foursome is actually, I will tell you this, a foursome, from a social engineering aspect, way better.
Oh,
Way better, right? Because it's even,
yeah.
right? Like if you're in a threesome with like 2 people that you're not with either of them,
Yeah.
that's fine, right? Because there's no connections, there's no like anything. But like the threesome, and if you're with somebody in that threesome, like you're in a relationship with them, whole different thing, right? You have to like really manage where your attention goes.
Yeah.
It's resource management. It's like StarCraft. You ever played StarCraft?
No.
I don't know why I thought a StarCraft joke with threesome joke is somehow gonna like the Venn diagram when people play StarCraft and have threesomes is 2 separate circles. But let's try to make this metaphor work somehow. So you have in StarCraft, it's a resource management game. You try to defend your home base, but you also want to explore new territory and like conquer new worlds, right? You can see how the metaphor makes sense, right? But if you don't spend enough time in home base, it gets destroyed by aliens, which is exactly what happens in a threesome. I don't know. I'm too old for threesomes now. It's so much work. Social engineering is just a lot of work. I don't have any sex anymore. I've been married for 17 years, right? So I don't have any sex anymore. Like on our anniversary, we had an anniversary recently. We had anal sex. Not annual sex. I don't know. I'm too old. I'm just too old to do anything. I don't want to do anything. Like I do this. I do comedy and alleys, and I go home and sleep. That's all I want to do. I'm at the age where I get like the other day I got injured washing my face. I got a kink in my neck from washing my face. Like that's how old I am. Like hygiene injuries. And I ran into an old goat. Same thing. Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal. I ran into an old girlfriend of mine from like 20 years ago, actually 20 years ago, very similar. And then she was complaining about the same thing. She like took a shower, kink in her neck. And I was like, man, you know what? Like 20 years ago, when we were comparing kinks, it was a very different conversation. She's like, yeah, I'm using my Hitachi massage wand for its advertised purpose. Oh God, yeah, I don't know. Getting old is fun. I mean, look, you probably can't tell. I'm 73 years old. Like I'm Asian. You can't tell. This is how this goes. Because oh man, I don't know. I think like I'm at the point where I'm like thinking about legacy and stuff like that. You know, like you've bought like a billion beer brewing companies, so you're good. But I'm like, what am I leaving behind? You know, because I don't have kids, right? And all my friends are like, they have kids, and they're like, oh, my kids are my legacy. And I was like, dude, your legacy just took a shit on the floor. So I don't know if this is what you want your legacy to be. We have cats. You have cats? Are you a cat person?
Yeah.
Cat person or
Dogs.
Dogs. Ooh. This is like the threesome conversation all over again. Cats versus dogs.
Cats win.
Cats win. Yeah, we have cats. My wife rescues cats. Our house is a foster home for cats. I mean, it's not like it's not like a regular foster home, except instead of children, we have cats, which is way better because cats don't press charges when you touch them. But no, she does this thing called TNR. It's like trap, neuter, rescue. She traps the cats, neuters them, rescues them. I was the first. We have 13 cats. I know. Yeah, shit is correct. That's all I deal with is shit. We have, I don't know if you guys read in the newspaper. I don't know if anybody here read the newspaper. Like a couple months ago, there was a cat that was born with no anus. Did you read about that? My cat.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. My cat is in my bedroom right now. Like just shitting on my bed. It's fun. She was born with no anus. It's called an imperforate anus, which sounds like a Scottish punk band. But yeah, so we had to raise, and it was brutal. Like we had her like when she had no anus, and she would like get into the litter box and just be like, she can't shit. I know it was sad. That's actually tragic. I don't know why I thought that'd be funny. But just imagine like the worst day in your life, and then imagine you can't shit. You have no asshole. Your day just got worse, right? But yeah, she had no asshole, and then we raised a bunch of money because people of Toronto are very generous, and we got her surgery, tore her a new asshole. But science cannot make a sphincter, right? This is the thing that, you know, there's brakes on that train. There's no brakes on that train. So like she's just a broken soft serve machine running around my house, just like fucking leaving town. I'll show you a video.
No.
We're not doing show and tell anymore? Okay. No, she's like, you know what, it's brutal. She's just like walking around. I can just follow a trail of her shit. She's like Hansel and Gretel, just like leaving shit. But then the problem is my Roomba just like follows that thing around. And I was like, oh no. Yeah. It's fun times. But this is what marriage is. This is what marriage
We'll
is.
skip that bit then.
Wait, are you guys aren't married yet,
No.
though, right? Okay. Am I gonna be like make things really awkward? I'm like, are you? Or is it one of those like, who cares?
I think we covered that base, did we not?
Has that been covered already? Oh, somebody already did that?
We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good.
Smart.
Absolutely good.
Smart. I don't think you need to like actually get married. Like
No.
you live together, right? I think as long as you know everything about one another, like who gives a shit? Like I remember like we bought a house first, and then my wife was like, well, now where's my ring? I was like, bitch, I just bought you a house.
Yes.
You can afford a ring. Rings are expensive, all right? Because diamonds are forever or whatever. I mean, so is a cast iron skillet. Like I can't get my wife an engagement skillet. She gets really mad. But there's the thing about like, you know, marriage, right? Like it's just about like, I mean, it's just about being in a relationship for a long time. You don't have to get married, whatever. I think the most important thing is, I think people get confused about like where happiness comes from, right? Everybody's like, oh, you know, like I'm with this person because I want this person to make me happy. But then like, oof, that's so much pressure on that person, right? To like make you, that's like so much responsibility. And it's your own responsibility to make yourself happy, right? And you just gotta be with somebody who lets you do it, right? Wait, I would help you.
We should have known that one.
Yeah, well now you do. If you take anything away from this alley,
Take that.
This is take away where happiness comes from. You came to this alley and you discovered the
My
secret of
job,
life.
not your job.
Yes.
That's the key, though, right? It's just making sure you're with somebody who lets you be happy. Because here's the thing: like my wife, she rescues cats. She had a high-paying job in consulting to take a no-paying job in animal rescue. Do you understand how upsetting that is? She was making more money than me. It was fucking glorious. All right? And some guys don't like that. They don't want their wives make more money than them. Those guys are stupid, okay? Like, if I had my way, my wife would make all the money. Like, I would cook, clean, and pleasure her in exchange for an allowance. You know, every now and then she gives me $20 to slaps me on the ass. Go buy yourself something pretty. That's never going to happen for me. The dream is dead. And then I quit my job. Like I said, I have 2 degrees in engineering, and now I don't do that anymore. I was an environmental engineer. I spent 20 years trying to clean up oil spills. It didn't go well. All these fucking clumsy billionaires keep spilling oil all over the place. Like, the world fucking sucks right now. Yeah, like the oceans are full of garbage. All the bees are dying. Every time a tree burns down, a Nazi springs up in its place. It's not going well. That's why I became a comedian. Because, man, I think we're all on the Titanic right now, basically. Right? And I'm just tired of being the engineer trying to keep this goddamn ship afloat. I'm going to be the violinist playing us all the way down. Yeah. And then people are all mad at, like, you know, Elon Musk and all these billionaires, like, just spending money to, like, leave the planet, take joyrides and spaceships. And that's like, yeah, you're mad at them. And I was like, listen, if you're on the Titanic, you don't get mad at the people building the life rafts. That being said, during the pandemic, I was doing a lot of Amazon Prime shit, and I would order stuff, and it would be like, at my door like 7 hours later, and I was like, I have made the world a worse place for sure. Like, the rainforest is like on fire, and this is what we're burning down the wrong Amazon. But yeah, I quit being an engineer, and now I'm a comedian. She was like, high-paying job. Now she's, you know, animal rescue, and it's important that we support each other, and we do. I love her. I support her. She loves me. She supports me. But I think we've hit a point in our relationship where it's time for us to open up our marriage. Because we need somebody to pay for things. Yeah. Dreams are so expensive. Like, listen, I'm going poly for the money, all right? Like, boy, girl, I don't care. If their assets are liquid, my sexuality is fluid. All right, you guys have been amazing. Thank you guys so much for coming in here. This is fantastic. Thank you, yeah, I have nothing else.
Leonard Chan. Leonard Chan. Also, give it up for Dylan Gott, John Mostyn, and of course the king and queen of Wingland, Dave and Emma. Thank you so much. Without you guys, it would have been a lot weirder. A lot weirder. And I'll raise a glass to you as I ask this final question. Dave, Emma, was this the greatest night you've ever had in an alley? Yeah. Cheers to that. We do it every Friday, Saturday at 9 with new lineups of comedians. Hit us up at Laughing Vikings. Thank you to our viewers at home on Facebook and Twitch and YouTube. Our mission, Dave and Emma, here at Laughing Vikings is to uplift, inspire, and empower 1 billion people globally by helping 1,000 actors and comedians produce and share their stories via TV, film, and live alley events. So thank you for being a part of it. We're doing it.
Cheers.
Thank you, guys.
Raise a glass to the king and queen of Wingland.
That
That was awesome. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, it was awesome.